smiles per day. You have strokes gained, chipping, strokes gained, putting TDs per smile for Belichick. Has to be an all-time record. The guy never once smiled on the sideline.
That's tough. Not much on the sideline except Super Bowls. I mean, when you won as much as he has on the biggest stages, Week 14 game, that didn't bring a big smile to his face.
There is no problem in Houston.
That's much better.
Yeah, we have no problem. Houston, we have no problem.
We have no problem.
We have no problem. Welcome to another episode of
Houston, we are the problem.
No, you are the problem.
Whatever.
Stop interrupting me.
Whatever.
Welcome to the bonus episode of Fairway to Heaven. If you like us, please follow us on TikTok, X, and Instagram at Fairway to Heaven _LIV Golf. We also do have our very own YouTube page, Fairway to Heaven Podcast. Do subscribe, like, do whatever the fuck you want. Jerry.
Well done. I'm trying not to interrupt you.
That is very new to me. I'm almost I'm kind of anticipating you interrupting me, so I'm kind of looking at you, waiting for you to interrupt me.
You told me not to interrupt you.
Since when were you so goddamn good at instructions?
I listen well.
You.
Karen has me trained.
Jesus.
This beer was brand new on the first take. This is take 2, 3, 4, maybe. Whichever one makes the edit.
Anyways, I'm really excited because this is my very first NFL player interview. We're trading in a player for an NFL player. He's a stud.
He's a total stud.
He played with some of the best quarterbacks of my time.
9 years in the NFL.
Not his time, my time.
Hey, I'm still alive.
You're dead to me.
I'm still alive.
You're dead to me.
No, if you're all of your time's been my time.
No.
I have a lot of time that was not your time.
But you're dead to me.
How many years I have? Like 15
A
years
lot.
of life
A lot.
that you weren't around.
A lot.
No, 25 years of life that you weren't around. That's a lifetime.
He's played for the Patriots. He's
Good.
played for the Panthers. He's played for
Majority
the Colts.
of his career with the Colts, yes.
He's now in entertainment. He is an absolute stud. It is my pleasure to get to speak to Darius Butler. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yes, cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Thanks for doing this.
No problem.
Yeah, thank you for
guys.
doing this.
You got a podcast as well, right? What's it called?
I've kind of put it on pause a little bit.
Man-to-Man?
Man-to-Man podcast. Yep. It's been on pause for a little
Let's
bit.
save this
Kick it
shit,
back up.
man. Let's
Well-
just, I gotta fucking do an intro.
I bet they're rolling already.
Yeah. Okay, we're rolling? Okay.
We
Oh,
got some B-roll.
See? How long you been in the other end of the business?
Oh, about 3 years.
Really?
Yeah. Pat McAfee Show. That's
Yeah, I heard about that.
kind of started off as a podcast, digital, and now it's kind of grown.
you enjoying it?
I love it.
Yeah?
Oh yeah, I love it. It's awesome.
I haven't listened to it yet. I'll admit that.
You ever watched McAfee Show?
No, I'm from Singapore. It's
Oh my
like football's not really.
It's huge in Singapore.
Soccer is.
I'm lying.
Soccer is. The other football is.
I don't know. I was at a bar in Singapore on the Tuesday. We were there pretty much the whole day for 2 straight years, and it was on TV down there.
There we
But
go.
it was, taped,
Well,
yeah.
the Super Bowl is at like 6 a.m. Singapore time, and there are Americans that would go to a bar literally at like 4 a.m.
Gotta do it.
and get
Those are
hammered.
good Americans.
Yep.
Yeah.
Patriotic Americans, and get to the bar and be hammered by 6 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
It's freaking brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
It's brilliant.
They're on American time.
Well, yeah. No, they live in Singapore, Jerry.
I
Expats.
know, but they're on American time that week. It's a
No,
national
that
holiday.
day.
Absolutely.
That
Definitely
day.
a holiday.
All right.
Don't be sure it's not every day.
So you just got off the golf course.
Yep.
You got to play with Bryson today.
I did.
I want to talk about athletic guys. I would say he's certainly one of them on our league. What was that experience like? Did he give you any tips?
Bryson's awesome. Obviously, he's athletic. You know, he's got the physique. He can hit the ball a mile, but he's so smart. He's so brilliant. I'll ask him one question. And, you know, you never know what type of answer you're going to get, but Bryson, he's going to lay it all out. You almost have to cut him off like, all right, I either get it or I don't get 90% of what you said, but it sounds like a great answer. But he was awesome. Gave me a bunch of tips on putting, how he reads putts. Obviously driving, I got a couple of driving lessons from him, but he was awesome. Thomas Peters as well, played with him. The front nine, he was great. So just watching these guys operate, I mean, they're aliens.
Did
Like
the-
how they play, how they hit, just everything. It's awesome.
Yeah, did Bryson give you a physics lesson?
Yes. Yes, he did.
Physics.
I was going to say, he's known as a mad scientist in golf. Is there an equivalent in football?
Oh.
Is there somebody who approaches things as analytically as he does?
I'll probably say Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning was one of those guys that he wanted to know. I didn't play with him, but played against him.
You picked him off.
Yeah, I did pick him off. I did pick him off. And at the end of my career, played 6 years with the Colts. So there were a lot of people who either was in the building when he was playing or former teammates of his. And I would obviously ask questions, how did Peyton operate? And he just ran the show. But he wanted to know what everything was, where everything was going to be. And then I had a coach, the coach that drafted me, Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
He was the same way as far as just, having that control and knowing what everyone on the football field and in the building, what their job was and how they were executed.
Yeah, speaking of Bill and the Patriots, did you watch the roast?
I did. I did.
Did you feel a little bad?
It was good. It was good. I felt like it's good, especially in kind of the day and age we're in. I feel like comedies, they always push the envelope and they always kind of bring things to light and say things that, shit that you won't hear really anywhere else. And it was kind of refreshing. I grew up kind of, late 90s, early 2000s, and I grew up in a different era than young kids are today. So it was definitely interesting. Some things maybe a little too far, but that's part of a roast. It was probably one of the first roast that I've seen, and I would say Tom is probably obviously the greatest athlete that I've seen get roast. So I'm interested to see if anyone else will kind of step up to that plate and get those crosshairs.
I will say this, watching the roast, Coach really surprised me.
Belichick?
Yes. He was funny.
Yeah.
You need to watch it. He was
You haven't
good.
seen it?
I've watched snippets from it.
Okay.
A little sound.
Oh, boy, that's
social
like-
media.
Bill
It's like a
Belichick
clip.
was
Yeah.
he was so good. And he went up there and just gave it to everybody. It was like, fuck you guys.
That's what people don't know. First of all, Bill is going to drop a lot of F-bombs.
Is he
He's gonna
really?
drop a lot of fucks.
See, people don't know him.
Every third sentence, but he's super, tight-lipped and buttoned up in front of cameras and dealing with media. But being a player for him, his coaches, he has a very dry sense of humor, but he is very funny. I had an opportunity to do the draft with him this year on the Pat McAfee Show. We had like an alternate thing that we did on YouTube.
Like a Manning cast type.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he'll actually be on the Mannycast this upcoming season.
No way, really?
Yep, every Monday that they do, and he'll be on the show as well every Monday with us. And I think people will see, they'll be very, very shocked, just like you were, about his personality and how he opens up and how genuinely funny he is.
See, that to me is shocking. You mentioned
is
growing up in a
shocking,
different generation. I grew up in his generation. Right now, maybe I'm older than Belichick, but how often smiles per day? You have strokes gained, chipping, strokes gained, putting, TDs per smile for Belichick. Has to be an all-time record. The guy never once smiled on the sideline.
That's tough. Not much on the sideline except Super Bowls. I mean, when you won as much as he has on the biggest stages, Week 14 game, that didn't bring a big smile to his face. And the worst part about it, being a player, you go out there and kick somebody's ass by 30 points. And the first thing you're thinking when you get off that field is, damn, I know Bill is going to show my 3 worst plays in Monday's meeting. So we always had to have our heads ready. I was ready for those Monday morning lowlights that we got from Bill. But so he was happy when he hoisted the Lombardi Trophy. And like I said, behind the scenes, you'll definitely see some smiles, some personality from Bill.
Yeah, it seems like a guy that will keep you quite humble.
Absolutely.
Fairly quickly.
Absolutely.
That's why it was so nice to see that side of him on the roast, because you see him do interviews, post-game interviews, and he's just so straight-faced, give you 2-word answers, and so to see that humor side of it was quite refreshing. Yeah.
Kind of smart too from the coach. I think coaches talk too much sometimes. Coaches, GMs, sometimes they run their mouth a little too much. Maybe give away some game plan things.
Yeah.
Maybe talk a little bit too much about injuries. And Bill was very, very kept everything close to the vest. And not only that, but he would also tell the players what we could and couldn't talk about, what we were or were not going to be asked about. So it was an interesting plan for Bill.
Yeah.
What's next for him?
Media, but I think he wants to get back in coaching.
I was going to say.
He will be 70.
He can name his price.
Yeah.
He will be what?
He'll be 73.
Bill Belichick?
He'll be 73 next season.
You guys keep him young.
Yeah, he'll be 73 next season. So I know he wants to get back into it. He wants to break that all-time wins record that Don Shula holds. I think he's like 14, 15 wins away. So at some point, I think he wants to get in. But, the clock is ticking. This hiring cycle, he didn't get hired, which was surprising by a lot of people.
Well, but he's not going to take any job just for a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only 32 of them. It's only 32 of them, and the teams that he went to didn't offer him a job for one reason or another. So he'll be doing media. Him and Nick Saban, greatest college coach of all time, he'll be doing media this year as well. So it'll be interesting to see both of those guys kind of, behind the curtain, behind the veil of those two great minds in football.
Well, let's go back to why you're really here in Houston. We're overlooking one of the most beautiful golf courses in Houston. How did you get into golf? What brought you to this game?
That's a great question.
Normally it's for the guys who don't practice that hard. So quarterbacks and kickers.
Quarterbacks and kickers are typically the best players. That is correct information. But I honestly don't know. I lived in South Florida, so there's golf courses. It's probably 20 every 10 miles. So just driving by them. But one day I just watched it on TV. I said, let me just get out there and hit some balls. Hit the range. My younger brother, I got a younger brother that played and worked at a golf course years and years back, but he had stopped playing for a while. And then, if you have siblings, like once you start doing something, he started doing it again, and then we started competing, and then it just became that. And once I kind of get into something, athletically, I've been out of the NFL now. Once the season starts this year, to be 7 years, I'll be out. So just wanted to find something challenging. It's obviously not going to challenge me the same physically, which I don't need it to at 38. But the mental,
all that you've been through,
exactly. But the mental challenge of the game, where it's really you versus you. Like you're not covering, receiver that's running a 4.4, 4.3. You're not trying to hit a fastball that's breaking. It's literally a little ball that's just sitting there, just waiting for you to hit it, however you want to hit it, and it just mind fucks you, and you never really master it. So that's kind of what honestly made me fall in love with it, and then just kind of the community of golf. Going out and you play, and you get paired up with random people, and you're playing with for 3 or 4 hours, and you're just talking and having a conversation. So kind of in your 30s, you're not really out trying to meet people or make new friends, but when you get on the golf course, you play with somebody, maybe they're a little better, or maybe they taught you something. They're just good vibes. You're like, hey, let's get out and play together at some time. Get out in nature. You're outside more, which I wasn't doing, especially with COVID. After that, that's kind of when I got into it, coming out of COVID a couple of years. So being indoors so much, I'm like, playing football for most of my life, I'm used to being outside a lot. So now you're just outside. You're hearing birds chirp. You're seeing turtles or alligators or iguanas or whatever where I'm from. So just all those different aspects just made me get into it. And I'm pissed off I didn't get into it earlier. Like I missed the greatest runs. I missed Tiger's run. I missed Phil's young run. I miss all this great eras of the sport. Just because it wasn't really accessible, at that point. It wasn't really, even entertaining to me at that point as a kid. I wanted to see football, basketball, baseball, something a little more up-tempo. But now, where I'm at in life, man, I love it.
Oh, you were pretty blessed because you got to play with some really good players, and one of them was Phil. I think you were in Vegas at the Pro-Am, and you got paired with Phil. And you just talked about Phil. What was that experience like for you? Did he give you any tips and any good stories from that round with Phil?
Well, we talked about Bryson earlier. Phil, he's another mad scientist. He's at the time the first time I played with him twice actually. Got paired with him in Vegas, and then in Miami as well. And the first time, I believe his brother was still on the bag. Tim was still on his bag, and his swing coach Andrew, and they were just so hands-on. Back to the community of golf. Like I feel like when golfers see you, like they want to help you out. They want to give you tips. They want to give you, some game per se. And the same thing with him. He taught me about aim point, how he had recently changed to using aim point to reading putts and putting. And I would ask him about some shots. I watched him hit like a driver off the deck, and I'm just ask him about some of his nutrition and physical. Because he's playing at his age and he's still playing at a very, very high level. So I was definitely interested in that. But just watching him, how he goes through the game mentally. How everything's a conversation. Every shot, it's like how he's looking at it, he got his little foresight or TrackMan or whatever it is he's taking on every shot in his practice round. Just see see how much detail goes into the game. Even at, he's played, thousands of rounds of golf at this point in his life, and still every shot he still goes through that level of detail. So just everything from those 2 times that I got to play with Phil was awesome, and I take him a long way.
Golf is truly the only non-reaction sport of the major sports. If you include it as a major sport, along with maybe the serve and tennis. There's other non-reaction sports, but they're a little more similar each and every time. There's not bowling and darts are non-reaction sports, but that lane's always the same for every game.
Correct.
You don't hit the same golf shot in golf twice in your entire life. Every single shot's different.
Crazy.
The ball is still. Only thing that moves is you. The only person to blame is yourself. You played a position in football that was completely reactionary.
Oh, yeah.
So you go from one extreme to the other. Is that the biggest challenge?
That is the biggest challenge, because it's only, and it's no one else you can blame. It's not like, sometimes you can be in the perfect situation to do everything right, and just, Antonio Brown or Randy Moss just makes a great catch. When it's the golf shot, whether it's a putt or a drive or whatever it is, you take in the conditions, the thing, and now it's on you to make or hit that shot. And it's funny you say reactionary sport, because I've talked to a lot of the guys, about other sports that they play, and I play with Matt Jones.
Yeah.
And Matt Jones is one of the fastest players, and I kind of asked him, like, why do you get up there? And I think he's played soccer when he was younger, and he said he tries to make golf a reactionary sport, so he doesn't want to get up there and think too much. He has his swing thought, and he just gets over the ball. And I don't think he ever like completely sets his body. Right. He's always set it, and then he just goes. So I don't play that fast yet. At some point, I would like to. Honestly, at this point in my life, I feel like the faster I play, the better I play. And you can get paired up or get stuck behind some people and things like that. So that sucks. But that is one of the biggest challenges, and that was a big challenge. That's a big challenge in every sport, is the reaction, because you can't. It takes the thinking out of it, and that's when you play your best football or your best basketball, when you're not thinking, you're just reacting. And in golf, I just talked about Phil, like, you're thinking through every shot before you take it. You're taking in, okay, how much wind do I need to club up? Where's that ridge back there? It's sand over here, it's water over here. So it's so much thought that goes into it. Everything's slow, and it's just on you. So it's very, very tough. Obviously, I feel like everything is backwards in golf. When you learn how to swing, everything's backwards.
Everything's in slow-mo.
Everything slow-mo is backwards, and at the same time, you love it.
I'll give you a tip. The only tip I'll ever give you.
All right.
If you want to have fun in golf, this will help. This will help. This is the only thing that will help.
It's the beauty of LIV Golf. I mean, because our tournaments, even though it's world-class competition with some of the best players in the world playing serious golf, the environment for the people spectating is like you and I go play golf. There's a speaker on our cart. There's going to be beer in the cooler. That's the environment that people get to come experience for 5 hours, 4 or 5 hours, and that's what I think makes it beautiful. I want to ask you, though, Pat McAfee is a polarizing figure in sports media these days. Very much a polarizing figure. Almost has a cult-like following. You work with him now. Is he as nutty off camera as he is on camera?
Sorry, Pat.
I'll tell you this. He'll probably take it as a compliment. But, Pat is always Pat. And being a professional athlete, meeting
Punters weren't
people.
athletes. Come on.
Yeah,
stop! No.
Pat's actually down in Cary, North Carolina
kick my
right
ass,
now.
I can promise you. But
playing in a soccer tournament right now at 37. Yeah, he's down there.
He's a goalie.
Wow.
Other people.
Oh, okay.
He plays in ACC sometimes. The tile tournament out in Tiles. Pat's actually a great athlete. But the thing I respect about him is he's always himself. You get around people, whether it's the greats or whoever it is, coaches, players, TV personalities, media personalities, and they're one person, on camera or when the camera's on and behind the scenes.
Trust me,
they may be
been in the business
just
for a while.
Just an absolute asshole, whatever. Pat is always, you know what you're gonna get. You know what you're gonna get, and that's what you can appreciate about him. Whether he's negotiating his own deals with executives, or he is talking to somebody behind the scenes at WWE, or one of his teammates, former, current, a superstar on that team, or a guy who was barely on that team. He treats everybody the same way, and he's always himself, and he's loyal to and he has the memory of an elephant. He doesn't forget anything. If you
hopefully he doesn't watch this.
Nah,
he's got to remember the name Jerry Foltz.
That's a real question. It wasn't bullshit, but yeah, Pat's awesome, and yeah, he's definitely as nutty off camera as he is on. But he's awesome to work with. We were teammates for 5 years. competed against each other in college as well. Got drafted in the same draft class, different teams.
I knew you were teammates, but you were competing against each other.
Yeah, he went to West Virginia.
And you were returning at the time, weren't you?
Yeah, he actually, in the Senior Bowl, in our All-Star game, he actually kicked off to me in that Senior Bowl.
How far did you go?
Down at, I don't know.
Oh,
it wasn't memorable. It wasn't not far enough.
Okay.
You guys are just roasting this guy right now.
No.
He can handle it.
No, I thought you said how far did I go.
Yeah.
He kicked it off. I didn't run it back, so that's all.
Okay. You had a couple though. You ran back.
Yep, I did, absolutely.
Now, a lot of athletes find it difficult post-career retirement, life after retiring. Because so much of your life is been sacrificed and dedicated to a sport that you love. What's been retirement like for you post-football?
It's been good. It's been different. It is a challenge regardless of where you are, who you are, what type of career you've had. But I always had a great support system, great family around me, great friends. So it's been great, and I was fortunate enough to play for 9 years and took care of my money enough to where I didn't have to just rush into something else that I didn't want to do, because being the life of an athlete it's almost like you kind of live life backwards in a sense. Like from the time you're like, for me, like 15, 16, you're kind of pegged as, okay, this is a star athlete. Okay, if you do everything right, you're going to be a pro. And when that's your life, all the doors open up for you. Any meeting you want to get to, any phone, everybody wants to talk to you or give you anything you want when you have that name on the back of your jersey. And then once you kind of transition out of that, whether that's 26 or 36 if you're super, super lucky, now you kind of have to do real life. Now you got to respond to emails, you have to make appointments, you have to do all these different things that people that are that age have been doing. They've been adulting, and for us, you've kind of been playing this kid's game and had people doing so many things. So that's the toughest transition for a lot of people. For me, I got an opportunity to do what I want to do. I never saw myself being in media, but it happened that way. Obviously, working with Pat, also doing another show on ESPN called NFL Matchup, having my own podcast, and everything that I've done up to this point was something I wanted to do, and I work with people that I enjoy working with. I don't have to walk into a building and be there for 8-10 hours with people that I fucking hate. Like that's the worst. And
Imagine how I feel.
I know a lot of people. I know. I'm sorry. I'll get you another beer. But so I've been fortunate up until that point, and I cover sports for a living. So I'm still, living the dream, just on a different aspect of it, and I can appreciate what the athlete is going through, the things that they don't talk about, and I can, and now being more visible to people. A lot of young athletes will reach out more, and I can give them that advice or give them that game, like, because you don't realize certain things when you're 25 years old. So I can get on the phone and tell a guy, hey, you probably shouldn't say that about another team's, whatever it is. So it's been a blessing. It's been fun. I'm 38, but I still feel as good as I've ever felt.
You're
enjoying life right now. There's no complaints.
You're in darn good shape. I'll tell you that.
I appreciate that.
Better than Jerry, that's for sure. It's not hard though. That's the bar.
Former golfer. What the hell do you expect? You talk
Alcoholics.
about no, alcoholics. Alcoholics have a problem. I'm just good at it.
I like that one. I'm gonna use that.
Do that. You talk about living life backwards. Also, with professional athletes like yourself, you were fortunate to have a 9-year career. That's much longer than the average for an NFL player. You earn all your money up front. You earn money at such a young age where most people aren't equipped to handle it. And then the rest of your life, you do something where you want to do, like you're doing now. You're in an emerging media, in a good position in media now, where you can continue to grow as much as you want. But you're fortunate. You're good at it. Not a lot of people are. Do you see a lot of other, do you give a lot of advice? Do you see a lot of other young players who get rich quick and just don't know how to handle it? And they're going to end up 35 and destitute?
It's tough. Yeah. It really is. That is, to your point, that is the biggest part of, and that's the biggest point of living that life backwards, because most people, start making real money probably in their 30s, probably like mid-30s. That's when you start, if you're getting a suite or you become an executive or you start getting bonuses, become partner, whatever you're doing, that's usually when you start hitting that sweet spot.
Progressive through
and for us, that's 21, that's 22, that's 20. It's not just something that's specific to athletes. Most people, you win the lotto. I know people who made a bunch of money on Wall Street. They tell me, oh yeah, the first $3 million bonus I got, I blew through that in the summer, 2 summers. So it's definitely a struggle and it's something tough, and people have to go through their own journey, and it's hard. Everybody doesn't get it. Sometimes people just have to learn the hard lessons, but hopefully you do. Hopefully you put people around you, and that's the other tough part. A lot of times when you come into that money, you don't have a lot of people around you who have dealt with that type of money or been. So now you have to trust people. Somebody comes in with a suit on, they work for a firm. Oh, this guy knows what they're talking about, so you trust them. And then a lot of people get taken advantage of from that standpoint. So it is a lot of pitfalls. So once again, I try to give back as much game as possible, but as you guys know, like sometimes people just have to learn for themselves, and it's tough. It really is tough, and I tell most guys, like, you're never going to make that type of money and once you leave whatever that sport is. So the best thing, a lot of people talk about saving, which is super important, but finding safe, smart investment vehicles so that your money's working for you while you're sleeping is the best advice that I would give young people. Put that money to work so that way, you feel like you're spending it, it's gone, but it's actually out working and it's making you and bringing you back more money. Hopefully that's, outlives you even.
Yeah.
So Darius, you've, I'm sure, been to other professional golf events, right? And you've been to a few of ours. What's your experience like here at LIV?
Yeah, what do you think of LIV?
What do you think of all this?
What is your instinctive experience?
I was, I didn't grow up watching golf.
Right.
It wasn't even into, my 30s. I just was not into it. Once I started playing, I got fully into it, started watching it, went back and watched it. Hey, greatest shots of this, greatest tournaments. I love it. I like it because I'm still getting used to the team aspect of it, because obviously everything about that I've saw golf is individual. But like how late you mentioned it, speakers, beer, like the laid back vibe. Like I feel like that's and it's the golf is becoming so much more popular in a bunch of different places, and I think it can relate to a lot more people the way LIV puts it out there. I do think some of the things from like the other tours, it's just almost like legacy. Sometimes you watch different sports, and as they change, a lot of people are opposed to change. Just like the NFL, you change certain rules or you change a jersey or a logo.
Your kickoff rule is going to suck ass.
I disagree. I disagree with you. The kickoff was dead, and now it's back.
It's not. It's hokey.
It's different. It is a little Mickey Mouse.
It's terrible.
It is a little Mickey Mouse, but it is back.
Go back to how it was before they killed it. That was still all right.
Well, yeah. See, but the part about that is the life after football. You see guys, there was some big time violent collisions that they are taking out of the game, but still bringing the play back to make it more exciting.
I'll give you that. You're right about that.
So it will be more exciting. You get, I think.
Take a while to get used to. Here I am arguing, railing against that.
I know. I
represent change in golf.
That's the thing. So it's a change, and change. Usually, when you have that disruption, I think that's what LIV was.
Yeah.
LIV was a disruption in the status quo in the golf. And it's nothing new. It's new to us. It's new to the sport of golf, but it happened. It's happened in football and NFL. They had the merger back in the day. The ABA, NBA, they had the merger and come together because once, for the fan, once the best players aren't playing in the same place, now you start to lose interest in fans, casual fans, because the casual fan that's just going to tune in on the weekend, they want to see the best players playing against each other every weekend. I don't care what tour it's on, where it's at. If the best players are playing, if Tom Brady's playing against Peyton Manning in Timbuktu, like, people are going to tune in and watch it. So that's what the fans and that's what the people want. And change, it comes over time. People just have to get used to different things, whether it's logos, whether it's teams, the concepts, how it looks on TV, the leaderboard, all those different. And some people won't like it, some people will. But once the best players start to play together, everybody just get used to it and go on with it. And that's I'm probably speaking for the casual fan. That's what most of the fans want. I embrace it. I like it because when I got into golf, LIV was kind of coming into existence. And I'm like, oh, what is this? Oh, it's a lot of money. Maybe I should have started playing golf a little bit earlier. Then being an athlete, it was like, I hated how much, and this was something that we talked about on the show, on Pat's show a lot. I hated how much flack the athletes caught, for taking the deals and leaving the tour and taking money, because, you have a finite amount of time as an athlete to play your sport at the highest level and make the most amount of money that you can make. And it's not like people aren't in business with, same people in any level of the business, as far as government, as far as big tech, everybody's in business with everybody. So for the athlete to take the kind of heat that they did, I hated to see that, but it's part of the business at that point at least. And I think the tide is turning somewhat, but I enjoy the brand of golf, and I still enjoy the other tours as well.
Well, there's enough room for everybody.
Yeah.
As a fan, as a golf fan, even for myself, there's enough room for everyone. You can be a fan of both tours. You can be a fan of one tour. You can still enjoy the game of golf with the existence of LIV Golf. Speaking of teams.
Wait, before we move on though, it's interesting that I learned something today playing with, obviously golf is a lonely sport, right?
Yeah.
It's very, Thomas, he was like, he loves the team aspect of it, because especially when you're not from America, like when you're coming over and you actually have teammates that can take you in and kind of, build that. I'm an athlete. I've been in the locker room my whole life, and I know how important that is. So having that aspect of it for young players, getting into the game, getting into the sport, I'm sure is more exciting for a lot of young players, because it is a lonely road when you're going down that path, and the more people that you can lean on and help, I think that'll definitely change. And then I asked Bryson, I'm like, how long did it take you? Because this was something I'm most interested in, because I have people who are like, oh, I hate the teams, I hate this, I hate that. What's Rom's team there? I don't care about that. That's not even real. But he just loved that. And Bryson said, I asked him, how long did it take him to get used to the team aspect? He's like, oh, immediately. I played on a team in college. I played on a team. I played in the Ryder Cup. I played in this play, and we love that team camaraderie aspect of it. Once again, everybody won't love it, and there is still individual championships, but that's something I think something that a lot of people are going to have to get used to if things do change.
You're talking about the legacy loyalists, and they don't want to hear this, but it's the truth. We have a sophisticated machine behind us. We have such a sophisticated organization with research that blows me away. But the one thing you hit on was the teams, and for the people who didn't ever watch golf, the teams is exactly what brings them in to LIV Golf. They love it. There was one guy who I was conversing with through social, and he was in a little bit of a debate with other guys my generation who couldn't buy into the teams because they're loyalists to the legacy of golf, to the individual nature of it, and just couldn't quite grasp it. And he's their same age, but he's a later in life dad, and he said, I get where you're coming from. I understand. I was there. He goes, but to me, I have a 7 and a 9-year-old daughter, and every weekend they would sit on the couch with me for 5-7 hours watching LIV Golf. And when the Open Championship was on my TV, they wanted to know how the range goats were doing. It's bringing in people who wouldn't have watched golf. Now the legacy loyalists, as I like to call them, with a lot of other nicknames that aren't quite as flattering, they still enjoy watching great golf. And LIV still has great golf. But it brings a whole new dynamic. And that was the whole purpose behind it, was to grow the audience, grow the game, make it international. And I think that's really cool. And I think had something like this been around before you got interested in golf, you would have grasped it right away.
As long as the best player, what matters most is that leaderboard. And then obviously the business behind it, the athletes and things like that. Because once LIV came and disrupted, everybody's making more money now. And now the average American may not care about that, but as far as the athletes and the people behind it, like a rising tide raises all ships, I think, in that aspect.
The average career of a PGA Tour player, I learned this today, actually, I did not know this. The average exemption status of a PGA Tour player is a little north of 3 years. I did not know that.
That's football.
And so if you're going to criticize players for taking the offers they got to get enticed to LIV when that was the business model, I know eventually we'll get away from that because it won't be necessary. But that's ludicrous to criticize those guys for making a financial decision that impacts them and their family for generations.
Absolutely.
The funny thing of it, if those same people were in the same shoes, I think the conversation would be a little different. Let's be honest. For fuck's sake, all right?
That's a no-brainer.
And there's a reason why, NCAA, there's a reason why the Ryder Cup, Solheim, President's Cup, and all of those events rate so well.
It's team.
They're team events, and people want that. And I think this is different from the sport that we grew up playing. This is something that is just disruptive. And I think, in my opinion, which doesn't mean shit,
it means a lot to me.
is that I do think it's something that we do need in our sport. As someone who is a fan and someone who...
It was bound to happen.
Grew up playing the sport. Speaking of teams, though, I wanted to ask you, do you have a team on LIV that you support?
You know what?
Are you wearing certain gear this week?
I'm the first team that I guess kind of they gave me gear that kind of took me in was the Aces. 4 Aces took me in a little bit. Yosti, shout out to Yosti. But I played with Phil twice, so I got some loyalty to High Flyers. Big fan of Rom.
Jesus.
So I'm a fan of Legion 13. And if you don't know this about me, I'm somewhat of a bandwagon fan, all right? So if you're doing like the Crushers are right now, the Crushers still number one?
They're number one.
There we are. I'm a Crushers fan. Bryson, shout out to Bryson, baby. There's your answer. I hope I answered it.
Oh, we're gonna get you a Crushers hat.
That's awesome. You know, you asked Bryson how long it took him to adapt to the team aspect. When I did 27 years at Golf Channel.
He's old. He's really old.
She tells me that all the time.
You look great. You look
Damn,
great.
look good though, right?
You look damn good.
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
Amazing. A little hair purchase.
I'm about to. All right, see you guys.
But two strangers to me who happen to be the greatest bosses I've ever worked for hired me over a Zoom call, and they were explaining this to me. The team was just like foreign to me, and I pretended like, okay, I'm in, but no,
Ass kisser.
It was hokey as shit to me. And then I get to the first event, and I remember standing in our first Pro-Am party, talking to Westwood and Poulter and Graham McDowell and all these guys, and that is one of the biggest reasons, or there obviously were other reasons, one of the biggest reasons, one of the first things they bought into was the team aspect, because they came from cultures where team sports was everything, primarily soccer and some cricket places. I came from an individual life and an individual sport, and they bought in immediately, and it was just amazing. Now, Rom, he was our big off-season sign. He's automatically a captain. He puts together his team, including taking a kid out of his sophomore year of college who's a superstar in Caleb Surratt, and puts him on the team, and an opportunity he could never say no to, or nor should anybody at that age, to be in this environment with these players. But Rom had a crushing defeat that very first week. He had a chance to win, but his team won. And it was was it you interviewed him on camera, and you asked him right away about the team, and it's like he just wanted to say like, I don't give a fuck, and then he realized I just lost. All I ever know is individual sports, except the Ryder Cup every 2 years. And then he realized it, and he became a proud dad, and it was genuine, it was authentic, and it was so cool to watch how quickly the team sunk into him, and now he's all about leading.
Oh man, when they won in Miami, that interview with him was
Is that when he put the flag?
Oh yeah, that's when he put the flag in, and he was just like, I'm so proud of Kieran Vincent, and like. He was just so, you can tell from his energy and the way he answered some of the questions that was asked, he was just so fired up about the team. And I think that's just so, I don't know, the only time you see Rom in that environment is at the Ryder Cup.
Ryder Cup.
That's it. Why wouldn't you want to see these athletes?
Too, so that's when I'm not rooting for them. Ryder Cup. So it is cool. It is great to see, just these great golfers specifically, because to your point, like we are used to just seeing that individual. Like it's the individual and what they're doing and what they're about. Are they winning? Are they losing? Are they playing shitty? Did they make the cut? Did they miss the cut? Whatever it is, you're used to seeing that from that aspect. So it is good to see. Just even those athletes, the golfers interact with other teammates and actually root and have that success. To your point, like the Ryder Cup, it is something dope to see. And like I said, it is something that some people get used to, and the legacy loyalists will never like it. They'll never love it. So, and that's just part of it.
Yeah.
Listen, it happened. It happened in cricket. It happened in rugby. It happened in a lot of.
USA just pulled off a huge upset against Pakistan, by the way.
Really?
Really?
Oh, the 2020s? The ones they're hosting?
I don't know the first thing about cricket.
I got you.
I just saw it pop up on my Twitter, like, hell yeah, here we go.
It had to be the 2020s. They're hosting in the United States, which nobody in the United States knows we're hosting one of the biggest things in the world. Second biggest sport in the world, cricket is. And we're hosting it in the United States. Nobody knows what's going on.
Nobody. It's crazy.
2020 is the coolest part. I mean, I'm a cricket fan. It's almost like too Americanized. It's a 3-hour sport. Original cricket was 4 days.
Oh yeah.
Then it went to 1 day for some of it, and they still have the 5-day and 4-day. Now they have the 2020, which is a 3-hour consumption, Americanized. And America couldn't care less. And I hate that. I love cricket.
Speaking of the USA, are you going to go to the Olympics?
What is it, Paris?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's so far away.
It's not that far away.
She lives in Singapore.
It's
halfway to Singapore.
It's not that far away.
It's about a month and a half away.
Yeah, it's not that far away. You
not
better
that
start
far
freaking
away.
booking your
I don't
tickets if
think-
you are
I don't
intending to
think
go.
I'll root from here. I have my red, white, and blue in from here.
Yeah. Well, we've taken enough of your time, but to close it off, where do you see yourself in 10 years? What do you want to achieve now?
She always goes deep later.
I do. She
She didn't ask you about your love life, though. Count yourself lucky.
I didn't go fairway to
Good,
love on
yeah,
this podcast.
good.
Listen, I give our guests some, it's just
Whatever.
the next time he comes on, we can ask about that.
All right, there we go.
Yeah, where are you gonna be when you're 48?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
I mean, you just asked about the Olympics, and that's what, a month and a half away, and I tell you that's too far away. So yeah, that's too far away. I asked about 10 years.
You're a man that
That's
lives in
better.
the present. I like
But
it.
I live in the present, and I really do. But I'm not sure. First of all, I want to be at least a scratch golfer. That's probably at the top of
What are
that
you at
list.
now?
I'm about a 15.
And you're on a quest to break 80 now, right?
I'm on a quest to break 80.
I've heard about
Have you
this.
seen his golf
You got your
swing?
ear to the
not,
streets.
yeah.
You got your ear to the
Yeah.
streets. I'm on a quest to break 80. I got a tip, some tips, some swing tips from one of the best golfers on LIV Tour right now. So we'll see that soon. But I don't know. So that's obviously up there. But I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I do enjoy the media space. I don't see myself doing it forever, but I do want to enjoy it while I'm here 10 years. I think I'll still be in it at that point. I love football. I connect with a lot of fans in the game in a different way. I talk, a lot of X and O's from the defensive standpoint. And I think that's kind of missing in our booths. So I do want to be a play-by-play announcer in the one booth, in the number one booth on one of the major networks. So that's definitely a goal of mine. Just want to continue to enjoy life and do things that that match my energy, match my spirit, match my vibes. And I've been so fortunate, so lucky to be 38 now in my, I guess I would call it second career. Obviously first one being a professional football player, now in the media space, and still working with people I enjoy, working with people I love, and doing and talking about things in sports I love. I love sports. I love competition. I love camaraderie. I love to your point, what team sports builds in all of us, especially, young kids. You gotta learn how to fail. You gotta learn that shit's not gonna always be easy. Shit's not gonna always work out your way. Regardless of how hard you work and what you do, you're really just giving yourself a chance, to be good at something. So I just wanna keep working, keep grinding my ass off, and keep giving myself, a chance to be good and better at something, and hopefully inspire people along the way.
I love it. Very inspirational.
You still get carded?
I do. I do, which I appreciate, which I greatly appreciate.
You're saying you're 38 the whole time, like no.
There's two of us at this table that gets carded. It is not Jerry Foltz. That's for damn.
Hey, black don't crack, baby.
Ask for the Social Security discount.
When he goes on the
Medicare.
metro. Whoever's listening in, if you're looking for a defense play-by-play, this is your guy right here.
Yeah, I call offense. When you play defense, you got to cover the quarterbacks. You got to know what the hell they're doing.
You got to be better at offense than a lot of the
Exactly.
offensive guys.
Exactly. See,
Yeah.
you're a smart man. You want to be an agent?
Fuck it. Thank you, Darius. I
Thank you
appreciate
so
your
much.
time. It was good fun.
This is
Enjoy your week here in Houston.
Appreciate that.
Good luck with the game of golf. It will fuck you up. I'm just gonna warn you right now. You're still early in the game. You still love it. You're still passionate about it. It will fucking bite you in the ass.
I love it.
If it hasn't already.
I love it. It has a couple times. I'm back. I'm still here.
Yeah, well, I love it. Thank you so much.
Appreciate
Thanks,
you.
man.
Thank you.
That was pretty darn cool. I'll say that. That was really, really cool. I've never had the experience of talking to a professional football player.
Really?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
It is my dream, though, to speak to Tom Brady. I'll say that.
He doesn't talk a lot.
What do you mean? Have you not watched the roast? I mean, clearly you have not watched the roast.
I haven't watched the roast.
No.
I've seen snippets of it because now I'm a single-serving kind of consumer. When you get older,
I thought you were going to say you're just single serving, which
you-
makes sense, but.
no. Well, maybe. Nonetheless, when you get older, and you spend a life in golf like I have, in the States especially, this environment affords you access to a lot of people who you would never meet otherwise.
Yeah.
So he's not the first NFL guy that I've talked to. He's one of the most dynamic, though. He's awesome. He's absolutely awesome.
That was very insightful, and I love how passionate he is about the game of golf.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for
And
the
he's new
game.
at
That's what I'm saying. I'm waiting for the game to just creep up on him and just.
But that's how tough golf can be. He is an incredible athlete. Obviously, there's nothing he can't do physically in terms of athletic prowess, if you will.
Yeah.
I don't mean to sound weird about that, but he's really. I mean, it
wasn't weird till you made it weird.
He's very athletic. So you would think something like a ball sitting still, a stick and a club, hitting it would come naturally. That's how tough golf is. If you don't start younger in life, the chances of getting good are so extremely low.
But he's got athleticism. Wow, I talk for a living. For him, right? He's got that advantage.
He's got that, yeah. But it's so funny because
and he played defense, so he's got strong legs. That's also good for the game of golf.
So offensive players don't.
What?
Offensive players don't have.
I'm just no. I'm saying.
You seen those linemen?
I have seen those linemen. By the way,
their legs are as big as you.
Apologies to all of our linemen who's listening to this podcast. Don't know why you're listening to this podcast if you are. But anyways, that was good fun. I really enjoyed that. It is hot and steamy here in Houston. I can't wait.
It's not Singapore.
It's not Singapore, but it's close. Yeah. It's humid and it's hot. You're going to be in a booth, so you can't complain. But anyways, thank you for joining us. If you do like us on Instagram, please, and Twitter.
If you do like us, check with your medical professional.
It comes with all sorts of side effects. You want to start the side effects. But yes, do follow us on Instagram, TikTok, as well as the X. And you can find us on our very own YouTube channel, Fairway to Heaven Podcast. Subscribe, thumbs up. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify. I don't know. What else is
We're on all those things?
Yeah, we are on all those things.
That's cool. I don't know how to work them, but yeah.
Thanks for tuning in. See you next week.